Most gardening channels tell you to stick cuttings in a jar of water. It looks simple, even magical. Roots appear in days. But that same miracle trick kills more plants than it saves. Coming up, why water rooting ruins your chances and what you should be doing instead. You've probably seen it everywhere. A glass of water, a stem cutting, and a promise that you'll have a new plant in no time. It's one of those feel-good garden hacks that look harmless enough. But if you've ever tried to move those water-rooted cuttings into soil, you already know what happens next. The leaves droop, the stem softens, and within a week or two, the whole thing collapses. Here in Florida's Zone 9, I see this mistake constantly. Water may keep a cutting alive for a while, but it doesn't teach the plant how to live in soil. Real roots need air, structure, and nutrients, things you just can't get from a glass of water on a windowsill. In this video, we're going to break down exactly why water rooting fails, what makes hydroponic systems totally different, and how to root your plants the right way so they thrive long after transplanting. Stick around to learn how to use humidity domes, rooting hormone, and slow hardening off techniques to create strong, soil-ready plants that never skip a beat. Everywhere you look, someone's showing off a cutting, growing in a glass of water. It looks simple and elegant. No soil, no mess, just instant roots. But what you're seeing isn't success. It's a trap. Water can keep a cutting alive for a little while, but it can't build the kind of roots that actually work in soil. There's almost no nutrition in plain water, and those thin, brittle water roots are adapted to one thing only: floating in liquid. When you move that plant into real soil, those delicate roots can't handle the change. They don't suffocate, they dehydrate. In soil, roots need to actively draw moisture out of tiny air pockets between soil particles. Water roots have no structures for that job, so they dry out and die almost immediately. The poor cutting now has to start over, trying to grow brand new, soil-adapted roots while already weak and out of energy. And to make matters worse, beginners usually skip the humidity dome at this stage because they think it already has roots. Without that protective humidity, the cutting shrivels faster than it can recover. Add fertilizer to the jar, and things get even worse. Without aeration, it just breeds mold. People often argue, but hydroponics works, so why not this? It's a fair question, and the answer comes down to complexity. Hydroponic systems are not just jars of water. They're complete balanced environments built to deliver oxygen, nutrients, and circulation in very precise ways. That's why they can grow full-sized lettuce heads or tomato vines without a speck of soil. In a real hydroponic setup, water is constantly aerated, usually with air pumps or waterfalls that keep oxygen levels high enough for roots to breathe. The nutrient solution is carefully measured and kept in motion so nothing stagnates or turns into a moldy soup. Every part of the plant's environment, light, temperature, humidity, and mineral balance, is controlled to mimic ideal growing conditions. Compare that to a cutting sitting in a glass of water on a windowsill. The water is still, stale, and oxygen poor. The cutting has no airflow around its roots, no structural support, and no access to nutrients that stay balanced over time. So, while hydroponics grows strong, functioning roots designed for that system, a glass of water grows weak, temporary ones that can't survive outside it. The two methods might look similar, but they couldn't be more different. The real secret to successful propagation isn't a jar of water. It's a carefully controlled environment that mimics what nature does in the ground. When you first take a cutting, it has no roots at all. That means it can't drink water the normal way, so the first priority is keeping it constantly surrounded by moisture. For the first couple of weeks, the soil should be soggy, not just damp. That high water level allows the cutting to stay hydrated through capillary action alone, buying time for it to grow its first root nubs. Use a sterile, high-quality propagation mix or potting soil, not something dug up from the yard. Cheap or unsterilized soil invites fungus and bacteria that can wipe out your entire tray overnight. Dip each cutting's end in rooting hormone, and if possible, dust it lightly with fungicide. The hormone jumpstarts root formation, while the fungicide protects that vulnerable tissue from rot during the wettest stage. Insert the cuttings gently but firmly into the mix so the stems stay in full contact with the soggy soil. Then cover everything with a clear, moisture-tight dome. This can be a purpose-built humidity dome, a repurposed takeout container, or even an old bread bag, anything that traps humidity and prevents evaporation. That sealed environment keeps your tiny plants alive long enough to sprout roots. After about 2 weeks, you'll start seeing the first signs of success. Leaves perk up slightly, or the stems begin to stiffen. That's your cue to slowly start reducing the humidity and moisture. Begin by lifting or venting the cover for about half an hour per day. Over the next several weeks, gradually increase air exposure while letting the soil transition from soggy to merely moist. This slow process teaches the new roots how to pull water from the soil the normal way. Rushing this step is where most beginners fail. If the humidity drops too fast, those brand new roots dry out and die before they can adapt. Keep a close eye on the leaves. If they start curling, the plant isn't ready. Put the cover back on and try again the next day. Once the plant can handle open air and ordinary soil moisture, it's officially hardened off and ready for real life in your garden. Rooting hormone and fungicide may sound optional, but together they turn a maybe into a most likely. Fresh cuttings are in survival mode. They're stressed, wounded, and completely dependent on stored energy. Rooting hormone steps in like a coach at just the right moment, encouraging those cells at the cut end to switch from healing to producing roots. Without it, many species still root, but it takes longer and with a higher failure rate. With it, you're giving your cuttings a head start when they need it most. Powdered rooting hormone is the way to go. It clings to the stem and stays active even in wet soil, while liquids tend to wash off almost instantly. Dip the freshly cut ends just deep enough to coat the area that will be buried. No need to cake it on thick. A thin, even layer is perfect. Once you've done that, gently tap the stem to shake off any excess so it doesn't crust over. Now comes the unsung hero, fungicide. In the constantly wet conditions needed for rooting, fungi are your worst enemy. Damping off and stem rot can take down an entire tray in a matter of days. Treating the cut ends with a light dusting of fungicide before planting drastically reduces that risk. It doesn't guarantee success, but it buys you time for roots to form before the bad microbes take hold. You can't always find a pre-mixed rooting hormone and fungicide anymore. The classic combo products have mostly vanished from store shelves. So, mix your own. Apply the hormone first, then the fungicide powder right on top. The treated zone is usually less than an inch long, so even if the fungicide isn't organic, it's insignificant compared to the size of the full-grown plant. Taken together, these two products turn a tricky process into a manageable one. You'll still need proper humidity and patience, but now you're working with biology instead of gambling against it. For first-time propagators, it's the difference between a tray of failures and a tray full of healthy, rooted plants ready to harden off. One of the worst and most common pieces of advice floating around online is to give your cuttings a gentle tug to check if they've rooted. Do not do this. Those new roots are as delicate as a spider web, and pulling on the cutting is the quickest way to destroy them. At this stage, the plant's entire future depends on a few fragile, translucent threads that barely hold it in place. When you tug, even lightly, you're shearing those roots right off at their base. The cutting may look fine for a few days, but you just reset its progress to zero. It's the same as pulling a newborn baby out of its incubator to see if it can walk yet. It can't, and it won't survive if you try. Plants at this stage are that fragile. Instead of pulling, let the plant tell you what's going on. Rooted cuttings will stand taller, look shinier, and show subtle signs of life. A little new growth or a deepening of leaf color usually means roots are forming underneath. These clues are gentle, reliable, and far safer than force testing the plant's strength. Also, remember that light still matters. Keep your cuttings in bright, indirect light, enough to fuel photosynthesis, but not so intense that it bakes them under their humidity dome. The trapped moisture amplifies heat, and too much sun can literally cook your plants before they've had a chance to grow. So resist the urge to check your progress by touch. Propagation is one of those times when patience isn't optional. It's the whole game. Every root that forms is a victory. And every one that breaks sets you back to the beginning. Treat your cuttings like newborns. They need stability, moisture, and gentle care, not strength tests. If you can do that, you'll soon have healthy young plants with root systems strong enough to handle transplanting without missing a beat. When you're propagating plants, it's tempting to peek or tug. But patience pays off if you learn to read the plant instead. A rooted cutting announces its success through a few unmistakable signs that you can see. No pulling required. The first thing to look for is leaf shine. A freshly cut piece that hasn't rooted yet often looks flat and dull because it can't regulate water internally. As roots begin to form and the plant starts to hydrate itself again, the leaves regain their natural sheen. They'll look glossier, sometimes even a richer shade of green than before. The glossy surface tells you the plant's plumbing system is finally back online. Next, watch for turgidity, the technical term for leaf firmness. You can spot it visually. The leaves no longer droop or curl, but sit upright, confident, and full. Instead of looking limp or deflated, they hold their shape, sometimes even standing out at a slight upward angle. It's the plant equivalent of good posture. A leaf that stays perky day after day means the cutting's new roots are now pumping water properly through the system. The third signal is active growth. You might see new leaf tips unfurling, tiny nodes swelling, or fresh color appearing near the stem's upper joints. That growth energy typically only comes once the roots are established enough to gather nutrients. Just be careful. Some species fake you out by sprouting early, even before roots are ready. That's why you should never rely on growth alone. To be confident your cuttings are truly rooted, wait until all three conditions line up: shiny leaves, firm leaf posture, and consistent new growth. When that trifecta appears, it's time to begin hardening off. Start by venting the humidity dome for short periods. Then gradually extend the exposure while letting the soil moisture taper toward normal. Cuttings that skip this step often collapse, not from bad luck, but from dehydration. The same fate as those poor, water-rooted cuttings you saw earlier. But if you've waited for the visual signs and transitioned carefully, you'll end up with sturdy, soil-ready plants that won't flinch when moved to their permanent home. Now you know why rooting plants in water is a trap disguised as a shortcut. Those fragile water roots might look promising, but they can't survive in soil, And no amount of fertilizer or wishful thinking can fix that. Real propagation starts with soggy soil, steady humidity, and patience. When you control moisture and airflow instead of leaving it to chance, your cuttings grow strong, soil-ready roots that actually last. The best part? Once you learn this method, you'll never need to buy extra plants again. A single healthy specimen can become a dozen more just by following the same careful routine. Sterile mix, constant moisture, clear cover, slow hardening off. You're not just saving money, you're mastering one of the most useful skills in all of gardening. If you're looking for gear that makes this easier, Vago Garden has durable indoor propagation trays with clear lids that hold humidity beautifully without collapsing or cracking after one season. They're perfect for keeping your cuttings evenly moist while you monitor progress under good light. Once those new roots are ready, then you can move the plants outdoors or into your raised beds. So ditch the glass jars, grow like a pro, and keep building that homegrown collection one rooted cutting at a time. For more Zone 9 gardening truth and real-world advice, hit subscribe. You'll want to see what's coming next.